Now, staying in Nigeria, exchange bureaus have asked the central bank to step up efforts to unify the country's multiple exchange rates to sustain gains in the local currency. Now, Africa's biggest economy has at least 6 exchange rates right now. These include one for Muslim pilgrims going to Saudi Arabia, a retail rate set by licensed exchange bureaus, and a rate for foreign travel and school fees, in addition to the official and black market rates. Nigeria is battling a currency crisis brought on by low oil prices, which of course tipped its economy into recession and created chronic dollar shortages. It wants to attract foreign investors and strengthen its currency to ward off inflation. The central bank has been intervening on the official market in the last few weeks to try to narrow the spread between the rates on the official market and the black market. Well, Deji Badmus now joins me in the studio with an update. He's actually in Lagos. Deji, welcome to the show. Now, like we just mentioned, we've seen the CBN intervening on the official market. It's also opened a currency window for foreign investors. How much have the CBN's moves helped unify rates in the country?
Well, let's talk about the investors' window. That's the investors and exporters' windows. I mean, for the past 6 weeks now that window has been in operation, what we're gathering from the CBN is that about 2.something billion has actually been exchanged in that market. And as we speak today, that market has been able to come, basically come close to the rate we have on the street. I mean, the going rate in that market today is around 370 Naira to the dollar, which of course is what the rate is in the parallel or black market, if you like. So it is because of this unification, in the rates that we're beginning to see that the CBN now and the FMDQ OTC have said, well, that they're going to begin a phased unification of the rate. So we've seen some kind of unifying of rates now at between the rate of the black market now and the investors window. What we're waiting to see, and we're waiting for the CBN and the FMDQ OTC now to take that action and unveil what they intend to do. We might see the rate of the interbank now coming close to the rate of the investors window, and before long we would see, for instance, some of the rates you mentioned earlier, like the one for Christian and Muslim pilgrims, now disappear completely altogether. Uche?
And I'd like to get more insight on that, Deji. We have seen gains in the local currency over the last few months. What is the Naira outlook right now, given the performance we've seen recently?
Well, the Naira outlook, if you ask me, it's very positive and stable, and this is the reason why I say so. For instance, I talked about the investors window that the CBN says about 2.something billion has been exchanged in that window for just a period of 2 weeks. And now we've also seen that the CBN is no longer intervening as it used to in the past. I mean, when it started this intervention back in February this year, the intervention was almost on a weekly basis. But now we're beginning to see a reduction. And that clearly suggests that the demand for dollar or the demand for Forex now is going down. And one of the reasons why the demand for Forex is going down, we're beginning to see import substitution. For instance, the country's import bill is beginning to go down. Take rice production as a clear example. We're beginning to produce more rice at home, and so the import bill for rice is coming down. The import bill for wheat and flour is coming down, and the country, of course, is aiming to become self-sufficient in rice and wheat production by the end of next year. Another reason why it's positive and we're beginning to see some cheering news is just because we're beginning to see that oil production is going up. The Focado's trunk line is now back. Nigeria is now the largest oil producer on the continent. So, you look at the medium to long-term, production will stay up, and you know, if production stays up and the price of oil stays up, it means the country will earn more forex, and more forex simply means there'll be enough forex now in the foreign exchange reserve, and the CBN has continued to maintain that it will continue to intervene in the forex market, you know, as long as it is necessary. And you look at all these reasons, there's no question at all that the outlook for the Naira, of course, is stable and quite positive.
Now, Deji, with all this positive news coming out of Nigeria, has this quieted the push for President Buhari and, of course, the CBN to consider the devaluation of the Naira? Are we seeing calls for that coming down now?
Uche, I doubt if we're going to see any form of devaluation at all. I don't think we're going to see it. The CBN has said it is not interested in devaluing the Naira further. And of course, we all know the president's position in this. I mean, so I don't think we're going to see any round of devaluation anytime soon. What we are going to see is that the CBN will want its current policy to take root, deepen, before it considers any form of. It's not even. I don't think it's actually in the agenda now, because we're beginning to see some stability in the forex market. We're beginning to see forex liquidity improve. And it appears the CBN's approach is working. And if the approach is working, I don't think the CBN will consider devaluing the Naira. And of course, you know President Buhari and the government is not quite disposed to that.
Quite right. Many thanks, Deji, as always, for those insights. Of course, Deji Badmus joining us there in Lagos, Nigeria.